These are the 10 reasons why you should avoid moving to the Minneapolis area. What's up guys, Jade Rowe here, and if this is your first time tuning into the channel, let me introduce myself. I am a local real estate agent and investor in the Minneapolis area. I was born and raised in Minnesota. I love it here, and I come out with content weekly to make sure that everybody knows what it's like to live here in the Minneapolis area. I'm helping countless families, spouses, single folks come to Minneapolis area and relocate here, whether it's for work, whether it's for life circumstances, whatever it may be. I love helping people get into a new home in Minnesota. Also, if you do want to stay up to date on what it's like living here in the Minneapolis area, please make sure to subscribe to that channel, hit that notification bell so you can be the first to learn about new content that we release. I will be putting out new content weekly, and I want to make sure that you are the first to know about new videos that we release. So let's get into this today. This place is awful, right? It's not, but I want to talk about 12 reasons why it might not be the place for you. Number one is going to be weather. We have very harsh winters here in Minnesota, no doubt about it. Some years are better than others, some years are worse. Last year was a very harsh winter. 2022 to 2023 was a very harsh winter. I know last year we got to temps around -20 to even 30 degrees below zero with a wind chill. That's not just the temperature, that's with wind chill. But generally it is very cold here. The days are long, the days are dark. We don't get a lot of sunlight in the winter months, especially January, February, and March. For me, winter is always a love-hate relationship because I love winter. I love to ski, I love to cross-country ski, I love to ice fish, I love to do things outside. Growing up, I used to sled all the time. It was super, super fun. And that fun, or that snow and that winter, starts in kind of that November timeframe, and it's super fun until about Christmas and New Year's. January, once we get past Christmas, it does get to be a little long, and January and February can seem a little long. I know I suffer from a little bit of seasonal depression during January and February because it is just not light here. It stays pretty dark and it's very, very cold most of the days. So if that is something that you don't want to deal with or find it no value in, or don't want to even partake in any sort of winter activities, because there's plenty of awesome things to do in the winter, it might not be the spot for you. Number two is gonna be allergies. A lot of people in Minnesota do suffer from allergies, especially in the springtime. When things are starting to kind of grow back, the pollen here can get really, really bad. I personally, luckily, knock on wood, do not have any sort of allergies like that. Yes, my nose will get a little runny here and there, but I don't have allergies like my mom, like my wife, like my dad. When they get to that spring time frame, they can't stop. Their nose is running all the time. Their face and their eyes are just red and kind of swollen because it just gets super, super humid here and super fast. We have a lot of wetlands, we have a lot of swamps, so a lot of that kind of hay fever is a real deal here in Minnesota. So if you're a person that struggles with allergies already, Minnesota is not a great place in that springtime for you, and just make sure that you're prepared for what's to come because it does get bad for a lot of people here. Number three is our bugs and mosquitoes. Now, luckily, Minnesota doesn't have any massive cockroaches, anything like that. We don't have lizards. It's too freaking cold for big lizards and things like that to survive here. However, we do have a lot of mosquitoes. That's the number one complaint generally, is Minnesota does have a lot of mosquitoes, especially in the summertime. It can get really bad when it's getting humid. Our summertime temps can get up to 100 degrees easily, if not more sometimes, and the mosquitoes can come out of nowhere. They love me, they attack me. I'll be sitting around a campfire, which I love to do in the summer, and I'm the only one getting attacked when other people aren't. It is quite frustrating at times, but it is something that we're gonna have to deal with and that we do deal with every single summer here in Minnesota. Another bug that is pretty gruesome is our deer flies. Our deer flies come out in the spring and summertime as well, mainly in the spring, and some areas are different, especially wooded areas. Deer flies can get really, really bad. Deer flies are basically, if you don't know what that is, are basically biting flies. So I hate these things. I probably hate these even more than mosquitoes. They're about, I don't know, probably yay big. They are a little bit bigger, and they fly around your head, don't want to let you go, and then they'll land on you, your arm, back of your neck, and they'll actually bite you. No poison, nothing like that. They don't leave really a mark, but they bite you, and it does hurt for a quick second. So mosquitoes and deer flies are two things that I do not enjoy about the Minnesota summers. Number 4 is groups. We do see in Minnesota that there is a little bit of that clickiness, I guess, like cliques. You know, where you're from, where do you go to school? We are usually super nice and open to everybody, right? But I do see some cliques, you know, maybe some wealthier cliques, some different area cliques, whatever it may be. Most people are usually open to new relationships, but it does take a little bit for you to maybe join those different cliques or be part of that if that's what you want. See, I'm not a really cliquey person. I have friends with everybody. I have friends with people I went to high school with college, people I met in different kind of networking things I've done or activities. So I'm friends with everybody. I don't really have like a core group. Maybe there's like a couple guys that I see the most or talk to, but I do see that here in Minnesota is we do see some cliques and, you know, where you went to high school, where are you from, where do you like those different things in Minnesota, I do see at times. So if that's something that really, really bothers you, just be prepared that that is something that I do see, whether you're a sports family, a hunting family, an outdoors family, an inside family. There are those different types of kind of things happening in environments where people and families and friends do sort of kind of stick together. That doesn't mean they're not gonna, you know, outcast you, but it will be more difficult for you to maybe be really in with those types of people because they already kind of have their core group of friends. Number 5 is our weeds and our lawn. Minnesota, I know we talked about in the winter, does get really cold, but in the summer also gets really, really hot. So our grass gets out of control very quickly, especially in the May and June months and July. In June specifically, I bet I'm cutting my lawn once a week, if not maybe twice a week, because it grows so fast. There's obviously tons of farm land in Minnesota as well. Our soil is really, really nutrient dense. We have a lot of black dirt, which does allow our grass to grow really, really fast. But that also allows weeds to grow really quickly as well. I'm weeding constantly in the summer months until about August, and then it kind of starts to get a little bit more dry. August can get really, really hot, or July can get really, really hot without much rain, and then August you can see weeds start to die, grass starts to die if you don't water it. But it is something that you're going to have to do. You're gonna have to landscape, you're gonna have to pick weeds, you're gonna have to mow a lot or hire services or people to do this for you, or your yard can get out of control due to the weeds and lawn that grows quite fast. Number 6 is the need for a GPS. Minneapolis and the surrounding areas can be pretty confusing. You have Minneapolis, you have St. Paul, you have other surrounding suburbs, so the need for GPS is quite high. There's rivers, there's lakes, you don't know what you gotta go around. You know, there's one-ways, there's all sorts of different things happening in the road system. Me, I grew up here. I'm obviously driving all the time for my job, and I still basically am stuck to my GPS. Now, sometimes I hate my GPS because it does take me into areas that I might not wanna be or longer routes, but I do use it all the time. We also have tons of road construction that happens in the summer. Our roads don't get touched all winter, so in the summer, all the road work and road construction happens, which does lead for road closures and sort of detours that need to happen. And again, you're not gonna know that unless you're using your GPS, which does generally most of the time stay up to date and says, hey, yep, this road's now closed, we're gonna take you around there. So if you're a type of person that hates the GPS or doesn't wanna use the GPS, thinks that technology is bad or something like that, then, you know, just be prepared that it's gonna be quite hard to navigate in the Minneapolis area without a GPS. Number 7 is our dry air. In the winter here, we get extremely dry air. I will seriously sometimes just get nosebleeds because of how dry the air is in the winter. most people, myself included, grew up with a humidifier in their home. I also now, my wife and I do have a humidifier in our home and in our bedroom in the winter to make sure that we're pushing some humidity into that air that we breathe in our home. Because again, I've woken up in the middle of the night without a humidifier with just a bloody nose at times because the air does get extremely dry. So if that's something that you're not prepared for or that you're gonna struggle with, just keep that in mind. In the winter, our air is very dry. You will need a humidifier or potentially suffer the consequences of bloody noses or different things because the air is very dry, unfortunately. Number 8 is taxes. Minnesota is a higher tax state, no questions about it. I've talked in other videos, we are a higher tax state, but we also are a higher income state. So the kind of balance, I think it balances out versus a state like Florida where yes, you may not have any income tax, but people might not be getting paid more at their job. Where Minnesota, we do get paid a lot more at our jobs here. So yes, the taxes are higher, but it kind of balances out. Our overall tax rate is about 9%. We rank 8th overall in the nation for higher taxes or for the amount of taxes we pay, whether it's property taxes, sales tax, income taxes. So we are up there when it comes to taxes. If this is something that's gonna super bother you, then I would potentially look at somewhere else. For me, yes, it kind of stinks at times, but also, it is what it is. They do put a lot of that money back into the state. Parks, roads, those types of things, it does go different places and they're not really tricking you. I think that's where other states sometimes have it. It's like, well, we don't have income tax, we don't have these high taxes like these other states, but somehow that government still needs to get their money. In Minnesota, they're just very direct. Like, you're gonna pay higher property taxes, higher income tax, higher sales tax, but that's it. There's nothing else that we're gonna surprise you by to make sure that we have the money we need to fund this beautiful state. Number 9 is snow and ice. If you're gonna move to the Minneapolis area or anywhere in Minnesota, you better get prepared to shovel your driveway, salt your driveway, or operate a snowblower. Because the Minneapolis metro area, or even just the state of Minnesota, does get multiple feet of snow poured on them every single year. There are multiple days in a row sometimes where we'll get 4 inches of snow, the next day 5, the next day 2, the next day 1, then we go maybe a week or 2 without anything, and then we get blasted or dumped on with a foot. It is part of living here. You're going to have to shovel a lot, you're gonna have to ice a lot as well. Some people don't think about that, but since we do get iciness as well, so we'll have days where it's kind of a little bit maybe warmer, we have the rain come down, but it freezes, you'll have freezing rain. That's gonna end up on your steps, that's gonna end up on your driveway, and you're gonna have to get out there and get all bundled up, go out there and sprinkle some salt on your driveway and your steps to make sure that people aren't slipping all over the place if they're walking into your house. Just be prepared for that. You can also obviously outsource these types of things, but if you're a person that doesn't want to have to battle in the winter with snow blowing and shoveling, Minnesota is not the place for you. Some people love it. Some people really do enjoy it. And I see it a lot, again, kind of up until that maybe mid-January where people are like, I like this, gets me out of the house, get some exercise, those types of things. But then it kind of starts to get like, all right, well, I'm done with this. And that kind of goes for everybody. Generally, mid-January, you see most people being like, okay, yep, let's get to the end of February, let's get through parts of March, and let's get to spring because I'm done shoveling and snow blowing all the time. Number 10 on our list is crime. Crime in the Minneapolis area has been increasing the last few years. Just like any other city, there's gonna be crime. You cannot avoid it. But some parts of Minneapolis where we generally didn't see as much crime according to the crime maps, we are now seeing a little bit more crime. I've never experienced it, but I do have friends that have personally experienced it or have seen crime take place in areas where we generally didn't see it happen as much. Just like any other city, you're gonna have to drive around, you're gonna have to pay attention, you're gonna have to look at some resources to get an idea of what it's like and where are the kind of more red pockets according to the crime maps. But again, that's something that you can go into further, but just know increasing crime here in Minnesota is happening. I do personally think that it has leveled off, and now I do kind of start to see a little bit of a decrease, but that's just personally what I'm hearing. I have no facts or statistics to back that up, but that's just kind of what I'm personally hearing when I'm talking to people. Thank you again for watching. I really hope this was valuable. Again, If anything did pop up in this video that was a red flag, or you know what, you thought about it and it's not gonna make sense for you to move here, I totally get it. It's a great state, I love it, but it's definitely not for everyone. If I can be of any service to you, please reach out, shoot me a text, send me a call, send me an email. I would love to answer your questions, potentially help you make a move here if you're thinking of doing that. Also, if you want to be the first to learn about more videos that I do release, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can be the first to know when we do release new content. We're going to be releasing new content every single week, and I would love to have you guys make sure you're receiving those notifications and make sure you're the first to know about when we do release that content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Until next time, we'll see ya.